It had been raining for hours. I stood by the fire reading a book, waiting for the pouring to end so I could check on my animals. But it just went on and on and on. I thought I'd have to wait all night to avoid getting soaked. And I was right. But then the fire went out. I checked around the house, but as Lady Luck would have it, I was all out of firewood. So, with the fantasy of staying dry swiftly banished from my mind, I grabbed my axe, said goodbye to my beastly friends, and dashed into the woods in search of some easy and quality firewood. But as I walked deeper and deeper into the trees, I suddenly noticed what looked like a small light in the distance. I'd never seen a light like that before out here, and I'm familiar with every inch of this part of the land. Could someone passing through have left out an open fire? That didn't seem likely. As I stepped atop the land where the light was sourced, I couldn't believe what I found before my eyes. This tree. I had never seen a tree like it before. I had never seen anything like it before. It seemed to glow with these pockets of golden light, and it dripped this fine violet ectoplasm. And as if the sight wasn't intriguing enough, the tree suddenly decided to talk. "Hello there," the tree began. I looked around, still not believing the source of the voice. "You know correctly, my dear. The voice you hear is indeed mine own." I struggled to pull my mind back to some semblance of focus, and began with a mumbling, "Why, I've never met such a tree before. A talking tree. Have you always been out here?" "Oh yes, I'm always around," the tree began. "Though you can't always see me. It depends on the time of day and the pair of eyes you're looking through. But luck would have it no other way than for us to meet face to face on this night. For I have a gift just for you." "A gift? What kind of a gift?" I asked, feeling slightly suspicious. "Oh, it's a gift you won't want to miss, my dear. It's important and powerful, and will lead to the end of all of your troubles." Okay. If I was only slightly suspicious before, now I was very. "What do you think you know about my troubles?" I asked, eager to hear the answer. There was something of a pause, the rain beating down all around us, before the tree continued in a voice of sympathy. "My dear, I know you carry the troubles of the world upon your shoulders, just like every beast of this world. There's not a child of this life that does not wish for the gift I wish to give you." He still hadn't told me what the gift was, but I had a feeling excess prying wasn't going to get me much closer. So, after a few moments, I resolved. "Okay, well, where's the gift?" "The gift is just beyond the horizon of one simple task," he replied. Oh, brother, here we go, I thought. Listen, I began. I really appreciate the offer, but I just need some firewood to get through the night, alright? And you'll never need to chop another tree in your life with my gift. The voice cut me off. All the work you put into firewood, tending to your animals, caring for your land, all the worries of the world will be washed away once you carry what I carry in your hands. I tried to let his words settle in my mind for a second. I didn't know. I didn't know if I could trust this being or not, but after a time, I decided to let him explain himself at the very least. I sighed. All right. What exactly do you want me to do? Despite no visible change, I could almost feel the tree smile. You must follow the trail to the land prophesied as the sacred ground of the stone pillar. There you must build this stone pillar. Fulfill it. It shall be 5 by 5 foot and 25 foot tall, and this must be completed before daylight, or your gift shall be dissolved into the misty sands of forgotten time. Wait, I've got to build the entire tower before sunrise? I don't know how you expect me to... I expect nothing that is impossible, my dear. The tree cut me off again. Now it is a simple matter. The gift awaits. It waits for you. It is all up to you. I stood there for a minute, weighing my options. I could just take an axe to one of these trees, get myself the firewood I need, and dry off near the fireplace with a good book. Try to forget this bizarre break with reality ever happened. Or I could build the tower and see where this all goes. I didn't know what to expect, but if what the tree was telling me was even 10% true, well, to tell you the truth, I simply realized I would never stop wondering what would have happened that night if I let this gift, whatever it really was, pass me by. All right, I'll build the pillar, but there are no trails out here. I know this land from front to back, and I don't know anything about some sacred land of a stone tower. So how am I going to find this thing without getting lost? Follow the trail of light, my dear. And just then, I instinctively looked to my right to find a descending trail of oil lanterns falling ever further into the distance. Well, I guess there wasn't much else for me to do now, other than get to work. I traveled across the lake to the local mine and gathered just enough stone. Luckily, I already had a little. If not, I don't think I would have had enough time to build it by sunrise. But I stayed focused and worked for hours straight, no breaks, and eventually, my work paid off. As soon as I had laid the last piece of stone, I felt a large wave of accomplishment flood me. And after only a moment to let that soak in, I began my proud march back to the tree. Before I could even say a word about the stone pillar's completion, the tree was already speaking. "Fantastic, fantastic, my dear! You've done it! Now, go back to your home and rest there until sunrise." You want me to go home?" I began, more than a little confused. "What about the gift you promised?" The tree giggled a little. "Oh, you'll get your gift, but you must get to your home right now, as soon as possible, and come back only an hour after sunrise, and not a minute sooner. Follow these guidelines, my dear, or by the time you find yourself back here, there will be nothing of your gift, but a pile of sorry ash." "Hey, listen," I spat in offense. "I worked myself half to death to create this pillar for you in the pouring rain. I think the least you can do—" "Silence yourself!" the voice boomed. "The truth has been spoken, and the truth is simple. The choice is now yours." I looked around, tried to think up any other course of action, but what could I do? I'd just spent the better half of the night working myself to the bone. Was I really gonna let all of that go just because this tree was being a jerk? So, wait I did. I made it back home, but I couldn't stop staring out of the window. With time, the sun rose, and as soon as I felt the sun had been up long enough, I darted out the front door, walking as quickly as I could out towards the talking tree. But when I arrived at the scene where everything had taken place the night before, I found nothing except a normal tree. The pockets of light I had seen were no longer there, nor was the dripping violet ectoplasm. When I attempted to speak, I received nothing in return. The lanterns lighting the path from the tree to the stone pillar were also gone. I almost thought the entirety of the previous night had been some horribly delusional dream, but when I followed the path recalled in my mind to the site of the stone pillar, there it was, just where I had left it. What I had built with my own hands still stood, but nothing more. Had I lost my mind? Had it all been some horribly strange illusion? I must have sleptwalked into the forest last night, not realizing a dream had half taken hold of reality. What a bizarre series of events, if true. I felt shaken, and I was quite nervous for my own health and safety at that point. But I couldn't take myself away from the tower. The whole day I lingered around, trying to think up some explanation, some way of saying the whole thing was nonsense, so I could laugh at it and move on with my life, move on to the next thing. But then I noticed the most beautiful cluster of stone I had ever seen, just down the hill from the pillar. It was quite bizarre looking, completely out of place for where it was. Usually you'd only see this kind near a river or a swamp. But as I came down to study it, I suddenly noticed a hole of some kind in the side of this hill, the side of this mountain. I had never seen this before, and as I approached the entrance to whatever this was, I found the tiniest haze of light shining from deep within. I peered deep, but saw nothing but darkness punctuated by that little light source hidden around a bend in this little cave. I could not see its source. I felt quite nervous. Night had fallen long ago, and I wished I had brought that axe with me for self-defense, but I hadn't. I was alone. After standing around for a long while, peering over my shoulder a time or two, I eventually made the decision to investigate, to go down into this cave and find the source of this light for myself. I lurched down into the darkness, immediately plunging 10 degrees into a frigid cold. I continued downward. Turning the corner, I indeed found what I was looking for. Before me, a lantern hung from the ceiling in a carved-out pocket of the stone wall, illuminating and hanging just above a singular bone. I walked closer and studied it. This was quite a strange sight indeed. What was this doing here? But no sooner had that thought crossed my mind that I heard a loud crack to my right. Looking over to the direction the sound came, I found an even deeper nook of the cave. Walking closer, I could see it contained on the left a cavernous hole. As I edged up to it, I tried to peer down. It seemed to go on, falling into the darkness infinitely. A chill went up my spine as I looked up and to the right side, to a little wooden signpost sticking up out of the stone ground of the cave. It was completely out of place. I squinted to see. There were words inscribed upon the bark. After my eyes had finally adjusted, I could see that it read, "First of 5, keep safe, come back tonight." I read that sign over and over again, the words searing into my memory. And I, indeed, kept it safe. Upon returning home, the bone went straight into a safe by my bedside, and on the way back home I finally picked up that firewood. As I stared into the flames of my fireplace, 1,000 thoughts swirled through my mind, with 1,000 questions. But within those 1,000 thoughts, there was one large constant. I stared out of my window into the forest beyond my house. I knew in my soul that as soon as the moon rose back into that inky, starry night sky, I was grabbing that bone and my axe, and I'd be heading out there into the woods, straight towards the site of that tree. I didn't know what awaited me, But I knew somewhere deep, deep down that I was ready for whatever was to come. How naive I was.